I'm always joking with my brother. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to get from my son when he sees this hair. Because there was one time I picked them up and I'd done this very local looking thread. And every picture of him, the entire ride was this. He was so angry. He was just like, what is this? But then so many people started giving it compliments. And then he's just like, I mean, I guess it's okay. So it's...
Hi! Welcome to another episode of Unraveling the Knots, the podcast where we dive into the world of Afro-textured hair care, how to lovingly take care of it, while answering the most pressing questions we all have about keeping our hair healthy, vibrant, and flourishing. I'm your host, Ganiat Salami. Here's a bit about me for new listeners. I love natural hair. I do have a 9-to-5 in project management, but when I'm not busy making superheroes out of my super team, I'm probably researching, writing, and talking about natural hair. Today, we have a special guest in the house, a friend, an entrepreneur, a branding aficionado, a miracle worker, a big pixie dust carrier. This babe turns things from ordinary to remarkable and a lover of natural hair. Welcome, Dami, to the UTK podcast. I beg, introduce yourself to our listeners.
I don't even know who you introduced.
Let me clap. Oh yeah, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. This is my first podcast opportunity where I get to talk about hair, which is kind of like the new venture and world that I'm in. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. My name is Dami. I am a creative at heart. I own a company called by Dami Studios and newly birthed, I don't even know if that's the word, another new company called the Braided Girls. And yeah, that's what I do. And truly what I love to do is I love to create things that are incredibly well done. I love to customize things, and I just like to make things feel personal. And I think where I am now with my new baby is I want to create things that feel like home, and the people who get it, get it.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing what you do with the audience. Now, let's switch gears and talk hair. What has been your experience with your natural hair?
So when I think about my hair, my natural hair, it just spans my entire life. I had a moment when I was younger that we all got our hair permed, but my hair was so thin that it just kind of naturally went back to its natural state. Like it grew out, I think I cut it, and I also perms used to really hurt me. So my default was always natural hair. I have very, very, very limited remembrance on when my hair was not natural. And I think for me, I grew up in Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian that grew up in Nigeria. Natural hair was the norm for the most part. Yes, I had teachers that had their hair straight, but we were very rooted in our identity. We did not necessarily feel like we needed, at least when I grew up in Nigeria, I didn't see a lot of people with weaves. It was always some kind of braids, with your natural hair or with attachments, but it just felt like the norm. So for me, it's just kind of felt like a very strong part of who I am, a very strong part of my identity. And as I've grown older, and I now live in the Western world, I really crave that nostalgic feeling of the authenticity and the power of natural hair. So for me, it's always been very positive. I've never really had any moments where I did not like my hair, or I did not I think my relationship with my hair that I'm struggling with is my level of laziness and care, which we talked about earlier, learning to understand the hair, helping the hair grow and things like that. But as far as my hair being natural, I've always kind of identified as a natural girl, but it's also because that is naturally what grows out of my hair. And So for me, my hair is honestly, it's part of laziness. It's half laziness because I'm not a naturally like, I hate to put it in quotes, like girly girl. I'm not someone who fusses around beauty and hair on a regular day. So part of the reason why I've embraced my hair is one, because I'm lazy, but two, I just really like the hair that grows out of my head. I've never had an issue with it. So I've never felt like it was something that it needed to be like fixed or solved or like needed to evolve into something else. I've always been fine with it.
Wow, that's remarkable because I think for me, and I said it in my first episode, I didn't have that experience. People around me, my aunties, mothers, they relaxed their hair. So I felt like my hair needed to be straight. And I'm just recently, like over the past maybe say last 10 years, learning to actually embrace my own natural hair.
Wow.
Yes, yes, yes. So, and I think that's a struggle for a good amount of people that I know. So I love it when I hear people say, like, for them, they felt like their hair was always beautiful and always like they just loved it. So I admire that about you, Dami. That's wonderful. That hasn't typically been the experience of most people I know. For them, their hair is always something that felt like a problem that needed to be solved. So I admire that about you, the fact that you've loved your hair and you're always proud about what was growing out from your head. Awesome. So I was also going to ask you another question. You did mention that you used to have relaxed hair, and it's refreshing that you're very comfortable about your natural hair. But then the people around you, your family and your friends, how did they react to your decision to go natural?
So the thing is, I don't feel like there was a distinct like, oh, I'm going natural. So I haven't seen a picture of myself maybe in my entire lifetime. Maybe it's been 2 to maybe 5 times that I've worn my hair. I'm always in braids. So for me, it was never really like my hair being out, you know? So if I was relaxing my hair, it was softening it so my braids will not hurt so much, or just so that it will be an easier braiding experience. I've never really worn my hair, maybe in high school once or twice. And I went to high school, half of my high school years were in Nigeria and another half was here in America, in New Orleans. And truthfully, because in school in Nigeria, they call our hair for us our hairstyles. I don't know if you remember that. So like all the schools that I went to St. Gloria's, that's pretty much where I went the entire time. We had hairstyles, you know, like, or I didn't have hairstyles, or my sisters went to QC and they had hairstyles, or Navy, or wherever they went. So being the youngest of three, when we went to get our hair done on the weekends, of course, I'm just going with them and we're getting our hair done. So my entire time in Nigeria, for the most part, like I would have braids, plaits, because we were going to school. My mom had 3 girls. She didn't have to, like, they would drop us off at the market, we'll get our hair done, and that's it for that week. You know what I mean? So there was never really a point. And like if I had my hair out, it was a special occasion. It was probably Christmas, you know, where my mom is like, okay, you can get curls. They'll relax your hair and give you one stiff curl like this. But it was never a big deal. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, you know, as far as your question saying like, oh, what did people think? Like, I just don't think, like, in my childhood brain or the people that were around me, it was never really something that we coveted. It was just kind of like, oh, another hairstyle that you choose to do. But at the end of the day, you go back to your default, which is braids. Do you understand? Which is braids with your natural hair. And then for us, I think it was more of a big deal to even get attachments, to get like single braids. Forget the relaxer. It was the real cocoa of the matter was when you had long enough braids to swing around. So I just think that it's really interesting because now that I'm on this side, I have a lot of friends that are American or of different like nationalities, but have like Afro kinky hair. And I'm learning so much around the struggle. I'm learning so much around, like, you know, living in America and kids not allowed to walk across the stage because of their natural hair or their locks, or like, I'm like, oh my goodness, how is this a thing? And it's always a conflict that I continue to have because of what I was born into. And I've learned to be a little bit more understanding of the plight of Black people in America through hair, just even through hair. I don't know if you guys can see, I don't know if you ever see me anywhere. I probably now in today's world, I have very interesting hairstyles. I always have cowries, beads. I do put flowers in my hair. I express myself through my hair. I feel like Black hair is art. And I embrace it so much. And I think that, and it's not out of like a rebellion of like a struggle that I went through with hair. I actually think it's coming from a very positive natural hair experience that I kind of grew up in. And I was sharing before we started recording that, like, for me, it feels like home, because I remember so much of what I remember about getting my hair done was Saturday mornings with my sisters doing Didi, my head stuck inside of the wrapper of the lady that was doing my hair.
I went through that growing up.
You know, smelling all the different smells, the babies on the back. You know, I just remember, like, I remember the market. I remember, like, her kids' kata and cleaning it, putting it on my hair. Like, all these things. I remember waiting, you know, me and my sisters, because we'll go at the same time, and it's like, who's going first? And you're always trying to go first and be done, or you're trying to go last. So, you know, so for me, the memories are so fun. It's such a precious, sacred thing. And I did not realize how much of a gift that was until in recent times, when people are just in awe of how embracing I am of my hair.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Dami. Like,
Accepting.
it's interesting how taking your hair experiences and translating it into something that inspires people, motivates people. You think it's small, but it means a lot to a lot of people, especially thinking about the US, where people at times can be restricted when it comes to actually wearing their hair and just being themselves because of some regulation or law. Goodness.
I'm so glad you said that, because again, back to my two older sisters, I have one sister that literally, maybe I've seen her wear braids maybe 3 times, my older sister, and I have one other sister that is locked. And, you know, like, she's always weaved up. And I have whatever suits you, whatever feels good to you. But I would hear her saying things like, I don't want to wear this braid to work, or like, I don't want to, like, there's, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've always worked for myself. So maybe that's part of what gives me so much liberty and gives me so much autonomy. So that's not lost on me. You know, it's not, I'm going to say something. You can't walk into a professional setting with red beads and shells, but also you can. Like, why can't you? I guess is the real question.
Exactly.
Because, you know, unfortunately, we all know the America that we live in. Anything that is Black is considered unprofessional. Let's just call a spade a spade. And unfortunately, hair is the first thing. And as a mom, I'm now a mom. I have 10-year-old twin boys, and I've had to have conversations with teachers when people are like, "Oh, your hair is like carpet," like telling that to my sons, you know, like, "Oh, his hair feels like carpet," you know, stuff like that. So I get it. Like, and so what I'm trying to say is, it's very, very interesting what my mindset is coming from a country where we're all Black, compared to what the mindset and the theories and the expectations and the taboos and all of the stories that have been created around Black hair in a country where there's still like major race issues, you know, and race dynamics. So I just want to put that out there, that it's not being obnoxious, like, oh, you know, Black hair. I get it. I get why Black hair is such a big discussion here.
Yeah, no, that's insightful, Dami. I was also going to ask you, what were the biggest struggles you faced when you transitioned to natural hair?
Honestly, taking care of my natural hair, because I don't actually wear my natural hair. I get it braided. So like, I don't wear it out like in its most natural form, because I don't know. I have a true like, the texture of my hair is the forest of all seas. Like it
Yes.
is.
Is that forest as in
I'm telling
Igbo
you,
forest?
it's four times four. It's just very, 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 very curly and kinky. And I feel like I always joke around with my braider. I tell her, I'm like, air cannot touch my natural hair. I'm like, as soon as you braid, as I take this hair out, it needs to get rebraided because I just don't know how to take care of my hair in its natural state to wear it in its natural state. And I feel like that is my next level of evolution. Like, I keep asking myself, I'm like, are you hiding behind like braiding it and like, but no, one thing is I'm very low maintenance. I cannot wake up every morning. I just don't have the capacity. I have 2 little kids I'm running after. I have these businesses I'm running after. And I like how my hair looks braided, right? But one thing I want to challenge myself to next is embracing my natural hair further, not even for the sake of wearing it, but for the sake of honoring it and making sure that I'm giving it what it needs to thrive. Because honestly, I literally wash my condition or not condition and I braid it right back. But I know that I need to treat her better, right? Like give her the opportunity to grow, to breathe, to show up as her best self. And I have not taken the time. And I think that's the other thing. Like when I see natural hair girlies, believe it or not, I don't actually consider myself a natural hair girly. When I see natural hair girlies, I'm just like, wait, what? You have to then plait and twist it and condition it and shea moisture or shea, but like it just, I get overwhelmed. Yeah. And so I'm just like, just braid it. Just give me another braid, another 2-3 weeks. I don't have to think about it. So I think there's something there, but I haven't even explored it yet.
Don't worry, Dami. We'll talk after this. Maybe I need to become your accountability partner. We'll talk. And then I was also going to ask you, what would you say is your most empowering experience you've had related to your natural hair?
Honestly, the amount of kids that come up to me and are like, oh my gosh, I love your hair. Or like parents who message me and say, my daughter wanted her hair like yours. Like I wear my hair with lots of beads, which is something that people kind of look at as being juvenile. They did. That's the funny thing. Like it used to be little girls that would wear their hair with beads. But if you notice, the trends are kind of turning. People are more adults are starting to wear beads. But I've always, again, for me, my hair is nostalgic. So I do the most nostalgic styles that I remember doing growing up. I do lots of threads. And I think the biggest compliment that I've received is people coming up and just almost kind of being like, oh, I can, you are giving me permission to be able to wear my hair like this. Because I think even with braids, people kind of feel like they have to do the pick and drop, like all of these super trendy styles. And the feedback that I've received with my hair that I continue to receive is one of people almost feeling liberated. Like, oh my gosh, I remember that style. When with Braided Girls, we dropped some sweatshirts with some very traditional hairstyles, like the shuku and the koroba. And I remember a friend of mine saying, I bought that koroba style because when I was in school, my mom would have me do it and everyone would make fun of my forehead. But like, I feel like I'm taking the power back, like I wear it now and everyone's like, oh, your shirt is so pretty. And it's healing some inner trauma, childhood trauma. And we just think so trivially like, oh, it's just hair. So even for me, it's not exactly like you think, oh, it's, but there's just so much that's happening. So for me, I think my biggest and proudest moments are when I hear someone say that, or they send me a message and they're just like, oh, hair inspired by Dami. I get a lot of that. And I'm just like, I wasn't trying to do anything beyond just being myself. And when being yourself is so wildly accepted, it's healing as well, because it helps you show up even furthermore as yourself. I wear a lot of thread. And when I do the thread, I do the traditional, like it looks very traditional. Kiko gidi, like, to the back. And, and I feel like when I first started, even my sisters were side-eyeing me like, Nibo Londo, are you like going to the market? And like, I would get those side eyes. But now I've even seen the side eyes become admiration. I see it like, oh wow, like Damala, you really don't care. Like I have one kid, I have a picture that I crack up all the time because whenever I tell the boys, my sons, oh, I'm getting my hair done today, most times I'm dropping them off. I probably have a towel on my hair because it's wet and I'm going to get my hair. Then I'll come back with new hair to pick them up. And like, I'm always joking with my brother. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to get from my son when he sees this hair. Because there was one time I picked them up and I'd done this very local looking thread. And every picture of him, the entire ride was this. He was so angry. He was just like, what is this? But then so many people started giving it compliments. And then he's just like, I mean, I guess it's okay. So it's one of these things where like we have to allow ourselves permission to like be authentically us. And I think my hair many times gives a lot of people that have experienced hair wounds. I don't know if that's a term, but like some kind of like someone judged you because of your natural hair or whatever. It's giving them permission to try again. And I think that's powerful.
Dami, you become miracle worker. Like just inspire people through hair. That is beautiful. It's really, I think it's really needed, the notion of accepting yourself for who you are, because you can't be anyone else, honestly. Yeah, you can't be anyone else. So your skin color, the way your hair grows, the importance of just embracing it, it's needed in today's world. It really is.
It is. I agree.
Yeah. I was also going to ask you, if you could give advice to your younger self about hair and self-acceptance, what would you say?
There's this trend that's happening right now where they're showing videos. You're showing a video of yourself right before something happens in the past. And then the caption is like, she doesn't know it yet, but she's about to get acceptance to her number one university. Like it's just showing sort of like you in the future now, talking about something that happened in the past. And as you were asking that question, that's what I was thinking of, like, if I could talk to myself in the past around my hair journey, I truly, honestly would have just said, lean in, honestly, because I did not experience any kind of true transition. I just really just continued to lean in and lean in and lean in. And also, I think a big thing I would tell myself is, we said this already at the beginning before you started recording, is so much good is going to come out of COVID. Because yes. I got really frustrated. I used to always get my hair, I was wearing my hair short for like, from when my kids were born, because it was just too much. Like for me, if there's any negative around my hair, it was always I saw it as a burden, like something else I had to do, right? I didn't have an issue with it. If I had the time, I felt like I always did not have time. And if there was anything that I was going to throw out, it would be time to do my hair, time to pour into myself. So it was part of a bigger problem, right? It wasn't just, my hair just was what reflected it, of just not like creating time to pour back into me, because loving on your hair requires patience and it's self-care. It's a very strong part of self-love. And I feel like when I was like deep in the throes and jungle of like new momship, I had twins and it was just so much living in New York City. The first thing I got rid of, the first thing was my hair. I remember the boys being like 6 months, like the hair was matted. I had braids. I just went to the barber, thankfully just right across the street from our apartment, and he cut my hair. And I remember feeling like a new lease on life. So I would wear my hair very like men's style. I would always have the line. It was cut very like, I would have fades. I loved it so much. And I wore that for maybe 4 years consistently. And I would always sneak out because, you go to the barber, that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I'll be like, come on, quickly. Again, my hairstyle, I didn't pick that hair intentionally. It was just a convenience thing, It just was what worked with my life. And then COVID happened, all the barbers closed down.
Sure.
So that is actually what has led me to this phase of like, because I would always wear my hair in singles because it would last longer. That is what has led me to this newfound Dami that I feel like I've been experiencing the last 5 years of like thinking through hairstyles, sitting down, changing my hair every 2 weeks, like, and it's COVID. So, I mean, I think if I were to just give myself any kind of advice, it's just to like embrace, slow down, and love on myself through my hair, because now I feel like that is like, I might not be going anywhere, but I'll make sure when I leave my braider, I'm making another appointment. And I feel like it's been my greatest return to self. It has helped me in the midst of losing myself in so many things. It's helped me recreate an identity of like, even like falling more in love with myself, you know?
Yeah.
And I think I can definitely say it's my hair that has gotten me here.
My goodness.
And I'm still on that journey, because you're going to talk to me about how to take care of my actual natural hair. So
yes,
straight out.
Yes, but I think it's so beautiful, like you stating that you wanted to be more deliberate in taking care of Dami, and not just Dami, like Dami body, but Dami hair too, you know? Yeah. So,
it truly is our crown. Like when we think of hair, our hair, like it truly is. It truly is such a strong part of who you are. You can never look at the mirror and not see it, you know? So, you know, you can look in the mirror and like not fully see your clothes or not see your toes or your nails, but it's such a connected part of your identity that, like, if you're sort of lost there, like I see why a lot of people are just like, I don't know what I'm gonna, there's a lot of worry around, I don't know what the next style I'm gonna do is, what should I do? Like, I get it, because it's so entwined with our identity.
it is.
And people are experiencing us, you know?
Yes, it is. It is. And it's so funny because I didn't even think about it that way. Usually, the first thing you look at in the mirror is your face. What's right above your
Literally,
your hair?
it literally is right there. You can't run away from it.
You can't run away from your hair. My God. And a lot of us try to run away from our hair.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Finally, you know, I have a question for you, Dami. And I think you already answered it, but let's see if you have another, you know, inspirational phrase, because this big book on dropping. That means she's just dropping inspiration. So what message do you want to leave our listeners with about embracing their natural hair and redefining beauty on their own terms?
Lean into what makes you uncomfortable. You're running away from something. You've got, there's no way, the only way to get to that area of magic and love is through, right? So like, lean into, so for me, I need to lean into figuring out how to love my hair, how to take care of my hair. And in doing that, it's healing the side of me that I have abandoned for so long. Like, I know this as far as like self-care, you know, I've always given to everything, the work, the kids, and I really realized that, like, at the end of the day, I'm spent, and then I give nothing to myself. And so I think when it comes to your hair, lean in, try it out. You really don't even know what is on the other side. And if you're skeptical about like braids, or like, oh, I never do braids, like you're quick to be like, oh, I never do braids. It's bigger than that. It's not just, it's probably something that you've experienced in the past that's stuck with you, that gives you some kind of like negative energy around it. And I feel like in leaning into these things, you're going to just learn more about who you are, and you're going to get closer to a more authentic version of you. And that doesn't mean that you don't choose to wear weaves. That might be your thing, or choose to cut your hair. But I just feel like the longer we face our hair, lean into whatever it is that you're skeptical about when it comes to how you wear your hair, how you take care of your hair, that will get you closer to who you truly authentically are. And like, for some people, it's worried about what people will think, you know, like there's so much there, like, you know, I don't want to do this because people will think I'm one da da da, but it's truly what you love. And so I think it will get you closer to being your most authentic self. And that's good for everything, your mental health, who you are, the people around you, and it will most definitely just inspire people to also be themselves. So I guess my biggest takeaway for even myself, because I'm on this journey as well, is just to lean in. I feel like it just evolves, you know, you get to one place and then you're like, okay, now let me go deeper. Like, you know, it's an ever evolving journey of just learning to love and relove, because as much as I feel very confident in how I show up with my hair, because I grew up where it was just do whatever you want, living here now, I find myself being like, oh, can you wear that hair? Like, it's my environment. I have to always kind of like shake myself back up, like no, you can do whatever you want. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
product of an environment, when you're in a certain space, sometimes it can start to seep into your own mental, and it starts to take away from you. So I always try to like recenter myself, to just be like, yeah, I can be audacious, I can do whatever I want to do with my hair, and I can be confident, and it doesn't have to be a cup of tea, and it's fine. So yeah, that's it.
Basically, like Dami is encouraging us to lean in and embrace the discomfort.
See, that's what I was trying to say this entire time, in the most concise and impactful way. That's why you're a podcaster. Because I would have been here for 5 more minutes just beating around the bush.
Nah,
But yes.
Dami, trust me, like all the things that you said is giving life. Concise or no concise, it's giving life. Finally, that's a word that I want to live in, a place where people actually feel more comfortable embracing who they truly are. And for everyone listening, let's not just talk about it, let's be about it. Rock your natural hair boldly if that's what you want to do. Compliment another natural queen. And most importantly, never let someone's definition of beauty dictate how you feel about yourself. Dami, thank you so much for this incredible conversation. Where can people find you and learn more about your work, girl?
You can find me on Instagram. That's the best place that you can find me. I am at by Dami Studios by Dami Studios NYC. And I feel like that's sort of like the HQ. And from there, you can find the Braided Girls or Just So Dope, which is my kids' line. But yeah, I'm on the webs.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. If you love this conversation, share with a friend, leave a review, and let's keep challenging these beauty standards together. Until next time, love your hair, love yourself.